Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. So we're joined today by Chris Holloway from PwC UK and my esteemed colleague Robin Christopherson from AbilityNet. So today we're talking about the Attitudes to Digital Accessibility survey that we've been running now for 3 years. And this year we had 363 professionals from around the globe just giving us their opinions on digital accessibility. So as well as showing sort of overall progress in the 3 years that we've been running it, this year we did notice that there were two distinct camps that respondents fell into. So we've got the accessibility leaders. So those are organisations that are displaying a clear commitment to all of the themes that we ask people about in the survey. But then we've also got accessibility laggards. So those are people who are showing pockets of good practice, but are generally falling behind the people that are in the leaders category. And the 5 themes that we asked them about are based on our AbilityNet digital accessibility maturity model. And those are vision, leadership, capability, processes, and procurement. And so I think Robin will talk about the maturity model a little bit later. And I don't know if the link is available, but if you wanted to download the report to look at the findings in detail, it's available at abilitynet.org.uk/attitudes. So yeah, I'll just launch into the questions now. So the first up, and it's a topic that we'll be covering a bit more later on, is AI. So we've learned from the survey analysis that was conducted by Open Inclusion Agency that of those who did have an opinion about AI, it was largely positive about its effects within the accessibility community. So Robin, I know you're a keen supporter of AI and everything it can do. So just, do these positive responses tally with your experience within organisations and individuals?
Well, there's obviously concern as well, because it's a tool that's incredibly powerful, but also a bit stupid sometimes. So confidently wrong. There is a huge amount of excitement in 3 different areas. So the accessibility community, we did a brilliant, I say brilliant, I mean, I was in it, but anyway, there was a webinar last month that was really well attended and really well received about AI and accessibility with DQ, who are obviously a big name in accessibility testing, automated solutions in America, and probably globally as well. And yeah, it's tangible, the excitement when it comes to what AI has the potential to do in the areas of creating accessible code, fixing errors, accessibility errors, remediating documents like PDFs, that sort of thing. So I would strongly recommend people, if you're interested in that, checking that out online or coming to our lunch and learn at 1 o'clock on AI and accessibility. We're going to revisit what we covered in that webinar, AI and accessibility at 1 o'clock. So yeah, within the accessibility community, I think there's tangible excitement. Within corporates, within organizations, again, everybody, if every single organization in this room should be thinking seriously about their AI usage within their organizations and have a draft strategy underway, putting in all of the pros and cons, the checks and balances, because I say it's a sort of a nascent but very, very powerful technology. So I would point out, though, that there are some limitations with regards access to AI, and a big shout out to Jessica if you can pull some levers so that Microsoft's 365 Copilot will become available to organizations of all sizes, because at the moment it's 300 seats or more. So that rules out all of the SME sector, which potentially could get huge benefits from the efficiencies, the do things better and also do better things, which AI promises. So yeah, huge shout out there. But AI in Copilot, in Microsoft's products, if you, and I hope this isn't going to be a spoiler, Jessica, for later on, but the accessibility Copilot in Word, just ask it to create a document. It will be 100% accessible out of the box. It will have headings, it will have alt text on images, etc. So that's incredibly powerful from scratch, from a blank sheet of paper. The accessibility checker within Word, for example, and other Office apps will be in line soon, just like the squiggles for grammar and spell checker. Again, sorry for the spoilers there. So yeah, huge excitement there and huge potential. And for end users, that's the most excitement, that's palpable. And we're going to cover that, as Joe mentioned, in the Be My Eyes, Be My AI session at 12 o'clock. So check that out as well.
Thank you. And Chris, is AI something that PwC UK are embracing?
Yeah, so certainly echoing what Robin's just said there. There's a huge amount of interest in it. I know PwC directly. We've invested, I think it's about 100 billion, I think, from us in terms of generative AI, what that looks like, where we're going to benefit in the firm. And I think for us, there's a huge amount of emphasis and excitement. I think that's one of the things that we do see a lot of is when you have excitement around the technology, okay, things move very, very quickly. And I think for us, it's just making sure that there's enough friction within building some of the new technology to make sure that accessibility is built in from the beginning. So I think that's probably the main kind of main focus that we see. I mean, as I walked in this morning, I got a nudge from Hugo. He'd managed to ditch Robin in the corner, and he said to me, "Chris, tell me about those AI robot guide dogs." Okay, so and his next question was, "Is my job safe?" And I think for us, it's kind of, I said to Hugo, absolutely. I said to Hugo, absolutely, you've got a job with us.
I mean, his job's definitely safe.
I also said to him, that what we're going to need is, as we're training all of these bots, as we're training the models, everything that comes into play around accessibility and what that looks like, it is absolutely vital, imperative that we have people with disabilities that are coming in, helping training those models. We don't have that existing bias coming in, okay? So anything bias around disability, any focus around race, anything like that, we need to make sure that as we're starting this journey, that does not become any part of it. Okay, so for me, that's really important. Some of the other areas, really quickly, people that know me in the room know that I love technology. It's one of those things that get me buzzing. There's something new to look at, something to play with. Denise, my lead in the audience here, she'll know that the budget requests that come in from me are usually like, "Can I have some new, I need something to do." And obviously for us, it's always been one of those areas that it's exciting for us. So some of the things that I've seen, especially because I know we've got a session later on Be My Eyes, and obviously the AI generation piece there. I think it's so important that we do embed AI into that, but also we don't lose that human element. So the example I had there, Be My Eyes as a training platform for myself and giving access to people. I helped somebody a couple of years ago read their pregnancy test, and that was something that actually, that's something that AI would have potentially taken away from me to have that opportunity, but also that person to talk to somebody that isn't a bot about something really personal to them. So that was probably one of those areas that perhaps AI is probably not the right position to be in, but that's not saying it's not going to benefit us in other areas. Okay, other areas I've seen a kind of Apple voice synthesizer, so it's like looking at your voice and being able to replicate that. Fantastic. I don't know, has anybody used the, something I found the other day when I was refitting our kitchen is Spotify have got a new AI DJ. And I don't know if anybody else has used that, and it's brilliant. I pressed it, didn't know what it was. It started talking to me, it looked through all my playlists. Really good, but then it's kind of like, where does that go next? So actually it's giving me really good insight as to kind of what my music's looking like, but then is it going to start feeding me things that I'm not so familiar with, that I actually really don't want to know about, and I haven't got any control over that. So I think that was one of the things that, I was looking at, through to things like phone calls with closed captions. As a workplace adjustment in our firm, we actively invest in, I think it's the Google Pixel phones, because they have captions that are generated through calls. And I think for us, that's, for us to be able to give that out to our staff and enable them whilst they're out talking to their families, absolutely amazing. So I think that's a huge, huge benefit in it. The other things that, we're kind of looking at is myself, I've got ADHD and dyslexia, and also my son and my dad. And I walked into the kitchen the other day, caught my son doing his homework with Alexa. So I think it's kind of them sort of things. Actually, it does have huge significant benefit there, but also we need to make sure that that is vetted in the right way as well. So I think it's a lot of play in it. The other areas, just quickly on it, I wanted to touch on, and there was a quite surprising metric, I think, in the survey that 23% of the people that were completing the survey had a positive attitude towards it. And I think for me, it was actually reading between why that is. I mean, I'm really positive, and I think most people in the room are relatively positive about AI and how that's going to benefit accessibility. But also, it's kind of, we need to make sure that everybody really truly understands what that looks like. And there's going to be people out there that haven't had exposure to it. So we might be talking about the aging population. We may be talking about multilingual people that are coming into using technology that don't quite understand the benefits. So I think we really do need to spend some time there. And also the ethical use. So there was an article that I read recently, I'll have to dig it out, and it was talking around the ethical use of AI and significantly how potentially AI could be used to predict the future. And to me, that's okay, it has its benefits. I'd love to know the lottery numbers. Don't think it quite told me that. But one of the things that it was talking about is how we could remove, it's a very controversial sort of topic around how we remove protected characteristics from DNA, and AI being able to potentially do that in the future. And for me, that is something that we really do need to make sure that we've got the right guardrails around.
So we'll watch this space on AI, and we'll be discussing it a lot further later on today. So just one other question. I know we're short on time, I think a little bit, but within the survey we talked about overcoming barriers and embedding digital accessibility. And when asked, some of the responses that we had were things like, our accessibility teams are siloed and not coordinated centrally with no central support for training, or the engagement for senior management has been low. They say the right things, but in action they produce inaccessible documents. And I know we were talking about the power of storytelling yesterday. So Robin, just in your experience, what can be done by middle managers, accessibility champions, to really push accessibility up the agenda?
I think that the main message that came out of the survey is pockets of good practice but patchy, and that's probably every one of our organisations. And so that's the challenge, to try and embed best practice across everything. People have the right tooling, the right training, the right resources, the right support to be able to know what they're doing at all times. Things like champions networks within an organisation are hugely important for helping spread the word. Having a central hub for accessibility resources, conversations for that community, etc. Really, really powerful. But the maturity model that you mentioned earlier is a brilliant approach. There are lots of maturity models out there. BDF have a brilliant one. It's on a larger scale than ours. Ours is just about digital accessibility, the DAM, Digital Accessibility Maturity Model. Just go download it. You can self-serve, or you can ask us to help you step through it. And it basically just shines a light on every corner. Imagine you don't know what you don't know. And there are pockets of good practice, there's the will, but how do you get to the point where all of those holes have been plugged, etc.? Well, that's what a maturity model is. Nothing more complicated than that. It's just a bunch of statements in those different areas that you mentioned earlier, taking you from a very ad hoc, informal at level 1, right up to really optimal at level 5, where not only is everything smoothly working, everyone knows what they're doing day to day within your organization, but you're also reaching out and influencing other networks, sharing best practice, that sort of thing. So it's really, really powerful. It takes different themes and it kind of steps you through how to improve and improve on each of those areas until you're in a really good place. So yeah, maturity model, give it a go. It will empower everyone within the organization, not just people with an accessibility hat on. Everyone that's saving off Word documents, that's sending emails, that's internal and external facing. So yeah, give it a go. Heather, I'm her #1 fan. I know other people will claim to be that as well. Is a huge advocate, as are probably several other clients or several other people within the room as well. But yeah, maturity models, they are really, really powerful.
Thank you. Do we have time for one more question? Yeah. Okay. So just to move on to the next question about recruitment practices. So the survey signalled that HR needs to ensure it's tackling inclusive, accessible recruitment practices, but significantly promoting that it's doing that. And within the survey responses, 41% agreed with the statement, the HR department in my organisation demonstrates that it's improving inclusive recruitment practices. But interestingly, 14% said that it didn't know. So it really emphasises that further support and open discussion and promotion of those practices is required. So Chris, do you have particular examples from within PwC UK that you'd like to share about recruitment?
So I think probably the starting point there is consistency. People need consistency in terms of a process and a policy that is standing. So what we are very lucky to have in our firm is a really stable, solid workplace adjustments process. So we have bi-weekly calls, workplace adjustments calls, and in that we have a technology aspect. We've got recruitment. We've got our health, safety and environment team that help provision any of the assessments as they go through the process. We've got policy change makers in there. And I think it's our employee relationships team as well. They've got the policies. That's every 2 weeks, and we continually review what's working well, what's not working so well, any candidates potentially that need a bit more assistance, how we can help enable them. So from our respect, it's the technology aspect. And I think for us, it's just really getting your recruitment team to understand what assistive technologies are, where to go, be that person that can answer the phone when they need some help as well, and there's knowledge out there for them. And also just keep continually reviewing and listening to the people that come through your process. I think that's the key for us.
Fantastic. Words of advice, yeah. Robin?
Just a quick point to further what Chris was saying. Technology and people is a killer combo. And the RIDI Awards, Recruitment Industry Disability Initiative Awards, took place yesterday. And go and check those winners out and the finalists online, because there are so many examples of really innovative approaches to inclusive recruitment. So RIDI, check that out online as well. Wonderful.
Well, thank you both. And also you can, just a reminder, if you download the report at /attitudes. Thanks very much.
Thank you.